Hi, I'm Matt from RetroReviews. Today we're going to talk about the best Mario game that no one is playing. For today's gamers, many of the amazing games released for the Nintendo Game Boy aren't touched. People are turned off by the low horsepower and the greenish screen. The games are overshadowed by arguably superior experiences on more powerful hardware, leaving many adventures lost to time. One such game that almost no one talks about anymore is Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. The original DMG 001 Game Boy had its flaws, sure, but it was revolutionary when it first launched. I can still remember playing in the back of the car on long road trips. As the sun went down, you couldn't see what was going on unless you got the light from a passing street lamp or restaurant coming through your window. You would then have to play in small, sporadic spurts. But the Game Boy was so cool, you'd do it. This was a time without home computers, cell phones, tablets, or the internet. Video games were king, and being able to play anywhere was incredible. The world was excited to see their first Mario game on the Game Boy, Super Mario Land. To be clear, this is a quick look at the first Super Mario Land, not Super Mario Land 2, the topic of our video today. The music was amazing and holds up today. My son is 3 years old and he will sing the music at the top of his lungs as he plays it on our old DMG. Even though the sound was amazing and every level felt unique with different backgrounds and enemies, the game really isn't that good. The sprites are minuscule, you can't even tell if that little mosquito thing is Mario, hitting blocks is tricky, and hard platforming can be frustrating. Don't even get me started on that Fireball Super Ball thing. If it didn't have Mario in the title, it would only have sold half as many copies and it wouldn't receive very much praise today. So yes, people love Super Mario Land because it was the first Mario game to break ground this way. As a kid, I loved it probably only because it had Mario in the title, if I'm being completely honest. Less people seem to remember Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins, which I think is an absolute masterpiece. It's such a shame this game isn't being played today. Oliver, my 3-year-old son, has been playing this lately and will choose the old Game Boy over the Wii U or the Super Nintendo. He is that into this game right now. 6 Golden Coins follows Mario through his own island where the inhabitants have been brainwashed by Wario so he can take over Mario's castle. And yes, this is our first introduction to Wario. Starting up the initial level, you are greeted by big, beautiful sprites. Everything is easy to see even in the DMG's single off-screen color. The programmers and designers use clever tricks to give texture to the backgrounds and characters. They also do a stellar job of using this texture to simulate different colors. You squish big, giant Goombas, get the familiar Fire Flower, and learn a new spin jump that we see come back in Super Mario World for the SNES to break blocks below you. And we get the carrot. I think it's a carrot. If it's not, that's what my son thinks it is. This carrot gives Mario bunny ears, which allows him to float gently down, mimicking the cape from Super Mario World in many ways. However, I can't remember the last time I saw a flying rabbit. Once you finish the first level, the game opens up. As a kid, I was blown away by the overworld. I got to choose where I wanted to go and in what order. If I went to the Halloween-themed world and got stuck on the 3rd level, I could leave, jump into the Turtle's Mouth, and play in that zone for a while. Every section is carefully and lovingly detailed. If you move through the game clockwise, you first come to a giant tree. The first level has you on the ground, while subsequent levels have you climb the tree, moving through a beehive, and you fight the zone boss, Big Bird. No, not that Big Bird, in a nest on top of the tree. But all these tree levels don't look, feel, or play the same. Each has a unique style of gameplay, enemies you won't see anywhere else, as well as foreground and background elements that aren't just reskinned or recycled pieces of other levels. You could argue that 6 Golden Coins does this even better than my favorite Mario game, Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES. Like the tree zone, each of the 6 zones has unique enemies, soundtracks, and levels. Getting to the second, higher exit of the Bubble Hippo level brings you to the Space Zone. Here you have two very interesting levels. The first is on the moon and features low gravity, while the second, in the stars, gives you the ability to fly wherever you want. This is one of the few levels my 3-year-old son can't beat yet. This ends with a boss battle against Tatanga, a boss from the first Super Mario Land game. Moving clockwise is the macro zone where Mario shrinks down and runs through a house with giant bugs, books, and building blocks. This zone has a lot of character. And then finally you face off against a big sewer rat for your third golden coin. Next are my two favorite zones from when I was a child, Pumpkin and Mario. The Pumpkin zone is complete with ghosts, Jason masks, a vampire, and a witch at the end. The music and atmosphere captured my attention as a kid, but not as much as the Mario zone. As a child and later an adult who loves pulling things apart to see how they work, this level was always my undisputed favorite. As you move your way through the giant robotic Mario, you see all the inner workings of the machine. Spinning gears, cogs, moving pathways, claws. The only level that doesn't make sense to me is the second, which seems to be just lots and lots of balls. The boss also kind of doesn't make sense. Here's the only boss, besides Wario, that takes more than 3 hits to defeat. You fight the 3 little pigs who pop out of their straw stick and brick houses to take you on. Not sure what that has to do with a robotic Mario. Each pig has its own attack pattern that gets faster with each hit. This is something the other bosses don't do. Add in the fact it takes a total of 9 hits to take down the silly swine. This is a fun boss that offers a different challenge than the rest. The final zone before taking on Wario is the Turtle Zone. You move from a regular Mario-style water level into a maze of a submarine and then fight your way through a giant whale's stomach. There's so much cool detail in the submarine and stomach, although I'm pretty sure that whale's not anatomically correct. There are lots of hidden nooks and crannies in the submarine, followed by your Jonah experience in the whale, and you finally battle a giant squid. Each set of levels has a boss at the end who will give you one of the 6 golden coins you need to open the door to what is now Wario's castle. Here, I give the game 2 small grievances. The first, when you lose all your lives, you also lose your golden coins. If you had 5, now you have 0. Even if you had all 6, tough, now you have 0. You can't just beat the bosses again, you have to play the entire boss level, followed by that boss. So if you're storming Wario's castle and lose all your lives, you must beat all 6 bosses and 6 boss levels again before attempting the castle, and you might only make it to the castle with 1 life left. This brings me to my second grievance, the difficulty. The difficulty throughout most of the game is right where it needs to be. It's mostly on the easy side without being too easy, although veteran Mario gamers and completionists can probably play this with one hand. The bosses are easy too. However, Wario's castle? That's a doozy. The difficulty changes suddenly. My son can't go more than a few steps into the castle, and getting him back there, well, if you were listening 30 seconds ago, you'll know how big a chore that is. The final castle has no checkpoints. Even if you get to Wario and you're within 1 hit of defeating him, losing means starting back at the very beginning of the level. This is incredibly frustrating, especially when the rest of the game has held your hand through most of the enjoyable adventure. The brutality of the final challenge can be very disheartening. So why aren't people playing this game or talking about it on retro channels? I think it's because it's on the Game Boy. Even I would rather see something bright and beautiful than sit through a dull screen on my TV. I think this is the reason it's not higher up on the list, black and white, or green, or whatever. Hold on, but there's a fan remake called Super Mario Land 2 DX. You can play this on a computer, Pi, or flashcart like any other game. It has been lovingly recolored the way it should have been in the first place. All the in-game footage you've seen during this video is my playthrough on my ancient laptop playing through the Visual Boy emulator. The main reason I wanted to start this gaming channel is to keep old amazing video games from getting lost to history. I honestly want to use this channel to preserve many lesser-known games for posterity. Of all the games I've talked about so far, and the next 20 episodes I've written scripts for, Super Mario Land 2, The 6 Golden Coins, is probably the second game most likely to not be played by our current generation of gamers. Original cartridges are not expensive, hovering around the $10 mark. Emulation and ROM carts are options as well, especially if you want to play that sweet DX version. So please, play this game however you can, It is one of the most satisfying Mario experiences you can have, and a complete playthrough can be done in about an hour. This is my number 3 pick for the best Game Boy game ever. So thank you for watching our episode on Super Mario Land 2, the 6 Golden Coins. Go ahead and comment below on what you think is the most underrated or underappreciated game in the Nintendo's library. If you'd like to see a quick video on how we made these cool custom Game Boy cases, let me know. When we hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to start giving stuff away, so stay tuned.